really happy to be here with all of you. It feels very cozy over here. I was telling Winnie, right? It feels like a cafe, It feels like always better together, right? Yeah. So I'm really, really thankful, very, very grateful to be here as well to share with all of you. I could be also talking to veterans over here. We've been in this industry for many, many years. I think it takes more than one way to be successful, and all of us we have our own definition of being successful as well. So this is my definition. It may not apply to everybody, but this is how it worked for me as well. So I'm just going to share. Keep your questions at the end. Feel free to ask me as well if you have any as well. Okay. So this is about me. Thanks Kevin for introducing. I signed on when I was at age 20 years old. Graduated from NUS, right? I took up a scholarship bond. How many of us are regulars before? Ex-regulars? How many? Okay, you're from Army or? Army lah. Okay, you got Army look lah. Who else? Anyone? Air Force, Navy? Alarm. Okay, and yourself? Air Force lah. Okay. Yeah, so I was a tower controller. I wasn't a pilot. Every time people ask, right, when they hear that I'm from Air Force, they'll ask, are you a pilot? I'm not. I control the pilot, I launch them, and I recover them accordingly. I work in a tower, okay, for a couple of years. And after that, I felt that I keep asking myself, right, especially the end of the scholarship bond, towards the end, if I'm gonna stay in this career or not, or am I gonna leave lah? Because if I want to stay as officers, we can only stay until 50 years old, and that's our maximum. I was just thinking, I want to make it out on my own. I want to make my name known as well, in the sense that I want to, in a way, have a kind of entrepreneurial spirit as well. So that's what I thought. And I have to leave, right? Nowhere else to go, right? So I started in AIA August 2018. I didn't have any prior sales experiences at all. It was really very new to me. I was quite reluctant to leave actually, because it was an iron rice bowl. Even my dad asked me not to leave, right? Stay in the Air Force. It's gonna be, safe and smooth for you. But I thankfully I didn't listen to what my dad say, right? And eventually, I joined this career, obviously. And it's my family, right? We have a yearly tradition to take photos together with my in-laws and then my parents accordingly as well. So. Okay, so I will just quickly run through this. This is not super important. So last year, top 12, I was a senior PWM as well and master FSC lah. All these are just titles . So I had some sharings as well. Back in 2019, when I was 1 year into my career, I was given a good opportunity to share with a lot of people as well, like yourself, if you still remember this, right? 2020, I shared with a premier consultant because I was on the premier program, right? And I was a premier mentor back then as well. So this was COVID, right? And I really, really love this photo in my son a lot because it really epitomized what circuit breaker was. And back then, it was COVID-19, we have to do a virtual session and was doing some sharing as well. And I was so heartened, that my son was able to be there and, listening in as well. And, he didn't make any noise, obviously, right? So this is really, what I really treasure and what I love as well. And family is really one of the driving force for me to work hard. So more sharings virtually from the comfort of my own home. I also shared to new premier consultants as well. Yeah, more quarterly sales clinic for the premier consultants. Have you all premier consultants before? Anyone? Yeah, a few of you all, right? Yeah, friend, right? Friend is also, yeah. Okay, final sprint. If you find me familiar, I was sharing in 2021 final sprint as well. Yeah, it was virtual lah. So behind me it was just green screen all the way. Yeah. And I really enjoy the whole session as well. And I have the fortune I have the luck also to share with Sharonelle and Connie. They are veterans, almost a quarter of a century, MDRT, and also being a consultant in AIA. So I have really the privilege to learn from them as well. So I was involved in MDRT global filming altogether, and also the very recent MDRT Academy sharing as well. So this is my typical weekly schedule. Some of you may be curious, what time do I wake up and all that, and how do I, keep the momentum in and all. So in the morning, I have to send my kid to school, to nursery, right? And so for Saturdays, we send him to right brain training school lah. For parents, do y'all know what is Higuru? Higuru, yeah, y'all know, right? I have no idea what Higuru was until I became a parent, yeah? So every Saturday morning we send him, and we are more than happy to do that, right? Because that's where he's able to learn and all that. And then because he's in school, then we are also able to do our own admin, do our own learning as well, right? And also to call our clients for appointments, etc. So in the first 2 years of this journey, literally every evening, if I don't have an appointment, I will make sure I have one. So how do I do that? I do warm calling, which means I call my acquaintances and friends, etc. I literally do that. And I arrange appointments with them. First 2 years, it was 100% on warm leads. I will make sure that every day, at least I have one appointment, including Saturday, less Sunday. I'll block out Sunday altogether because it's reserved for family. And then at night, after appointment, I have to prepare for the next day's appointment. So I actually, come to think about it, my working hours are much longer than RSCF, Yeah, but I enjoy every bit of it. Yeah, because I think it's really a job that requires a lot of passion, requires a lot of sincerity, requires a lot of heart as well. So I have this, 5 C's of business mantra. I know it may sound cliche, but this is what I I subscribe to. Concern of our clients, competent. We must be competent, we must stay competent. How do we stay competent, right? Not clock the CBD hours only, right? Try to, achieve some certifications if you can. I'm on the midst of going through the CHFC. Maybe some of you have already qualified for that, right? So I'm just left with 2 more modules and then I'm done with it, right? So all these things are important. Compassion, right? Whenever there is exclusion on our patients, on our clients' policy, do we, fight all the end with the underwriters, with the claims department, right? Or do we just, okay, please accept this exclusion. There's nowhere else that we can include you. So very recently, I met a client's husband actually, he has an exclusion with another company. But to me, it doesn't really sound very serious. And then I just tried, and I talked to the underwriters, and then that's where, surprisingly, there's no exclusion. We accepted it on standard. I declared everything, I submitted everything. So the husband was so thankful to me, including the wife as well. Now, all these things are really what we do behind the scenes that a lot of people do not know, and this is important. And I'm sure most of us, if not all, are already doing so. Commitment in this journey. If you are in, just to, if you're in and you just want to try out a little bit and see how it goes, I think you'll be better if you tell yourself that you're going to stay for life. Your mindset will change, yeah. And also communication with your clients is important. Now, I have 3 questions for everyone, including myself, right? Are we willing to commit to clients for a lifetime in sickness and in health, literally? Are you trustworthy? Do you mean what you say and say what you mean? That is also important, right? Sometimes we overpromise something and then we under-deliver, yeah. Are you competent, continuous learning and value-adding your clients? To me, I don't know about you, but to me, this is a mandate that is given by my clients. The fact that clients trust me, I want to be able to not disappoint them, obvious reasons, right? And we are all financial doctors, literally, right? Lawyers and engineers. Why lawyers? We talk to the claims department. We want to make sure that the claims go through. We are an advocate for them. Because in our industry, there's asymmetric information. The client do not know a lot of things. We know more. So we are at a better advantage of helping our clients based on the claims and based on the underwriting as well. So we need to do that. We have that duty in a sense. Not really so much of a fiduciary duty, but really an intrinsic duty that we need to achieve. We are engineers, we are architects, we design solutions, we solve the problems for our clients. Now, the more important question is that what is your client's impression of us? What is the overall impression, right? Are we just a salesman, right? Do we only do sales? Are we the yearly money vacuum machine? Every year deduct via gyro or credit card. Every year you come and meet me, you have to deduct some premiums for me. Are we the problem solver? Do we spot out for problems and we give solutions? Are we lifelong friends? I'm sure you have clients that turn into friends. Are we value adder? Are we, client-centric? Are we a guru in what we do? It's important to specialize in what you do, have a certain specialization in the clients that you're looking out for. Are we experts as well? Are we the authority? Are we a lifelong planner? So it's a good question to reflect sometimes, right? Now, whether we like it or not, right, insurance is a relationship business, and it's difficult to achieve, or rather, it's difficult to gain or earn a person's respect, right, and also trust. So same goes to our career as well. So relationship matters because we want to build a close relationship in order to serve, right? Not only the clients, but also the family as well. And it's important to build and maintain strong personal relationship by listening, learning, and nurturing. Now, I'm going to illustrate the umbrella of life. Maybe some of your questions would be, how do I, present to my clients? How do I better illustrate whatever that I want to speak to them within the first 5 to 10 minutes? Yeah, so I need the whiteboard. Thank you. Oh. No need. Yeah. Okay, I call this the umbrella of life. I know some people, they call it differently, but this is how I name it for a reason. Yeah, I'll share with you why. You all can still hear me, right? Yes. Okay. Some call this the pizza, but I don't want to make myself hungry during the appointment, right? So I don't call that the pizza. So I will illustrate, right? I'll tell the client. I will now speak like how I'll speak to the client, okay? Okay, so Mr. Client, this is the umbrella of coverage, the umbrella of life. Now, with every umbrella, you want to make sure that there's no gaps. You want to make sure that there is no holes at all, right? If not, the umbrella would defeat its purpose. Exactly, right? When storm comes and all that, water will seep through. So that's not what you want. So what we want is to have a comprehensive coverage as well, okay? So the first few things that I will always look out for is always the medical plan. So medical plan, there's two sides, right? There is the inpatient and also the outpatient part. So the inpatient is the client, is actually the hospital plan. Now, what do we cover for hospital plan? I know a lot of things, right? It's difficult for consultants to share. So just these three main things, and then you tell your client. Surgery, hospitalization, and day surgery. Now, it's important to highlight the day surgery because a lot of clients do not know that hospital plan also cover day surgery, that the surgery can be performed in the morning in a few hours, and then you get discharged back home. Because a lot of clients' impression is that you have to stay at least 6 hours. 6 hours, am I right? 6 or 8 hours, right? Yeah. To be able to claim in that sense. So day surgery, no need. You just go through the day surgery, cataract removal, endoscopy, gastroscopy, etc. So all these things are important so that they know the value of the hospital plan, right? The next one would be personal accident plan. Okay, but we have to highlight personal accident plan doesn't cover the normal flu and fever. Okay, unless it's dengue fever related. So we can say that Mr. Client, we are able to cover TCM, we are able to cover chiropractor, physiotherapy. I know you know the coverage, so I'm not going to elaborate more, right? So why is this personal accident plan important? Now, some of the consultants may find it very difficult to, in a way, sell PA plan in that sense. So for me, PA plan is always a very 顺便 thing. I don't really target main PA plan as a main topic. I would say that usually PA plan is like a complementary to the plans that I'm going to share with you. Because you can't be spending 1 hour just talking about PA plan, right? Yeah. So why is PA plan also important? Because there are things that, there are accidents or injuries or things that may happen that you are not able to claim your inpatient, your hospital plan. So how? So that's where personal accident plan comes in to save the day, right? And to be the hero of that. And what do we cover? We also cover things like dengue fever, we also cover things like food poisoning and all that. Okay? So any questions so far? Don't have, So this is what I will do. I will give a break and then I'll ask the client if they have any questions. Okay? No question doesn't mean it's a good thing also. Okay? Sometimes more questions better. Okay, so next one will be life insurance. Now, what do we cover for life insurance? Obviously, right? We cover death, we cover TPD, and we cover CI, right? Critical illness. So what do we cover for critical illnesses? We cover early, we cover intermediate, and we cover major. And also relapse, provided you're going to add a rider for your relapse. So, Mr. Client, can you tell me what are the critical illnesses that you think insurance company would cover? I can tell you number one thing that they will say is cancer. You're right. In fact, it's based on the MOH website, it's number one killer. Number one, okay? So, How many other critical illnesses do you think, other than cancer, do we cover? I can tell you, some of them they don't know what, they only know cancer. Some of them they will also tell you, those that are a bit more savvy, they will tell you, oh, maybe stroke, maybe heart attack. These are very savvy, in a way, clients. So you tell them that, do you know altogether how many critical illness or how many medical conditions we cover? We cover 150 medical conditions altogether. And I'm not even putting in special conditions yet. You can that. And they'll be surprised, right? Oh, I thought that, I had the impression that insurance company only cover cancer. You're right, in fact, most of the claims come from cancer, but we also cover a lot more things that you're not aware of, but it is also common. So you show them that 150 medical conditions, later you sell a CI plan, you think they will not buy from you? They will, because they see the value. But if they only see that, if they only think or assume that the plan only covers cancer, obviously they might not buy as well. Because what they will ask is that they will look at your own family history. Nobody in my family has cancer. I don't have a tendency of eating barbecue stuff. I don't really have any history in all this cancerous stuff. So I don't see the point of buying. And in fact, I'll be wasting money, right, if I buy. So this will further reinforce the fact that it's worth it. Now, clients nowadays are savvy. We can't just tell them and then expect them to buy, right? We must explain to them in a way that not in a way that people would commonly explain. Okay. Next one will be savings plan. Why is it important to save? Obviously, right? Because inflation. How many inflation is it nowadays? You look at a headline topic every day. You wake up, you browse, or you refresh your newsfeed. You see that inflation is, ranging to the range of 4, 5, or 6%. Now the question is, can inflation be controlled? Can it be controlled? No. Can it be stopped? Can inflation be stopped? No way, right? So we don't bother. Whatever we cannot control, we don't bother about that. But what can we control? We can control how much money that we want to grow and how fast is our wealth growing. You understand? So this is a statement that you need to tell your clients so that they will understand. Okay? So you also can mention about the bank, about the returns, if you put in a normal liquid savings account, and what is the difference. I'm sure you guys know the script, right? So it is important to be able for your money to grow higher than that of inflation, right? The next one will be investment. Okay, so investments, there is a trade-off. Why is it that we also put a little bit in investment? Because we need to bear a little bit of risk. Why is it that we need to bear risk? Because it's a trade-off. If you want something that is guaranteed, will the returns be high or low? Low. If you want the returns to be high, will it be guaranteed? No. So that is the reason why if you have some of the guaranteed portion that gives you a bit of the returns, and also at the same time bear a bit of risk. Now, I can tell you the common pandemic, or rather the common syndrome of a lot of Singaporeans is that we know how to save but we don't know how to invest. And we are so fearful of the word investment because of our parents' ideology. Back then, during the Asian financial crisis, all the investors are not doing well, the Lehman Brothers and all that. So, it doesn't mean that investment is bad. It just means that people are investing emotionally, right? When prices go down, do you buy or do you sell? When prices go up, do you buy or do you sell? So, because of that wrong impression or that misconception or the doubts about investment, that's where they may, turn against that investment and turn towards savings. I think that's fine. But I think it's also important for even our clients that is of low risk to also invest. Not a lot, just put a little bit so that they can see the returns at the end. And if they see the returns at the end, they will be, in a way, trust you more in that sense. And maybe your doubts is that you cannot even convince yourself that investment is good. So far, whatever returns that you see is bad. You look at elite funds, right? Is it performing well? Not super. But is it a good opportunity to enter now? The answer is yes, because the fund prices are low. So you need to also believe that in order to share with your clients accordingly. And if you look at the whole market, right, for any investments, great investments, I'm not talking about junk bonds, I'm talking about investment-grade investments. If you give it long enough, the risk is close to zero. See it? The returns by then will be positive for anything that you hold for 10 years. So if the investment just nice, pro Giro, right? You hold for 10, 11 years, that kind, okay, then you can take it up, it's fine. So this kind of investments will be able to help you and also your clients at the same time. The next one will be retirement. Okay, so why is retirement important? Why is retirement income important? Okay, so those who want to take photo of this, maybe you can take first, because I know some cameras coming up. Because I'm going to erase this and then I'm just going to draw another chart. Or is there a secondary board? No, right, just this, right?
No, it's okay, you can erase.
Oh, there is a
No,
secondary
no,
board.
use that one. That one very hard to erase.
Oh, then it's okay, then we use
This
this.
one easier.
Do you have a duster?
Yeah,
I do.
it's with you.
Yeah, my job.
No,
Picture already? Service.
Take already.
Thank you.
Now take picture with me. 依家係喝啦，係。If you cannot produce, at least you can erase, right?
Okay, thank you very much, Kevin. Okay, so just now you saw the retirement, right? So I'm just going to draw an arrow down towards this timeline, okay? All the consultants are very used and very happy to draw this kind of timeline, okay? So this is now, and you ask the client how old you want to retire. What are the common objections? I'm not going to retire, right? Oh, I'm just going to work all the way, right? So how would you reply to that? How would you reply to that, sir?
I'll just say retirement is an option whether you want to work or not to work.
Yes, exactly. And at least you are giving yourself plan B, right? Yeah. I mean, I'm not forcing you to retire, but I'm just giving you the option to exercise, right? Like when you buy a house, right, you are given an option to exercise, an option to purchase. Same as this, yeah? So, but do you know that even the government has set a retirement age, whether you like it or not? How old is the retirement at this point of time? You are saying 70, right? Almost, right? 60, 63, 63 is the retirement age. Do you know by 2030 what is the age, retirement age going to become?
67.
I guess 67. How many? Any other? 65? 65 years old before 2030. The government has already announced. Our government is very good with all these things. They will tell you first, then they will effect the change so that you don't come and say anything else. Okay, so 65 years old is going to be the eventual age. But does 65, if you're talking to somebody who is 38 years old, who is 38 years old now? 30s, in the 30s. No, nobody? No lah. Okay, Kevin, 30? Nobody else is 30s, really? How are you?
28.
22.
Oh, so, okay, sorry. So how many is in your 20s? 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 Late 20s, mid 20s, okay. How many in your 40s? 40s, I'm sure you have 40s as well, yeah? Okay, 40s. Now, do you think this retirement age applies to people like 20s, 30s, or even to the 40s? Do you think this 65 years old applies to people like that age group? May or may not. The high chance is it will not. The retirement age will continue to increase, right? 65 by 2030. Why does the retirement age increase?
Because our longevity increases.
Yes, because lifespan increase, right? So what is the logical, or rather what is the lifespan averagely for Singaporeans?
80 to 88.
80 to 88, some say 85, some say 87, some say 78, right? So in front of your client, Google SG lifespan, show it. Okay? Because if you show everything on your slides, they think that you you put anyhow one, you buy one. So show, this is a live one, you can Google also lifespan. But the problem with the Google, they only show you 2019. But it's a good indication already. You can go in now, no problem. So that is the 2019 stats, right? But if you look at the trend, you think it's increasing? The answer is yes. So you have to tell the reason to your clients why people are living longer. Why? Because everyone will say that I don't want to live until so long. You got clients telling you that before? Then how will you reply? As if you can choose. Right? As if you can choose, right? We can't choose our retirement age. So the best option to start planning for it. That's important. And First reason is good medical health care, right? Why people are living longer. Secondly is people our generation, are we okay to go for health check? We are. Health screening, we are, right? Compared to the older generation. The stats that you see over now, 2019, are people of our grandparents' generation. Are they, in a way, do they dare to go for health screening? The answer is no. They treat it as a taboo, right? You ask them to do it, it's like you're killing them like that, right? They rather not know. Ignorance is bliss. So by our time, I can assure you, our generation, we are more than happy to go for health screening. In fact, it's practical reasons. So we are going to live longer, much, much longer. I'm not a statistics person, but I'm telling you, based on all these facts and all this trend, people will live beyond 100 years old for our generation. In fact, now people are living above 100 years old. But people now that they are living 100 years old, not that bad. At least if they have a family, how many children will they usually have? 10 children, 12 children. One child, give them $100, they got 1,002 passive income every month. Is it difficult? It's not difficult, right? Can get by lah, right? But for our generation, how big is our family nucleus? 2, 3, some maybe only 1, some none. So if each of them only give $100, how much is it only? Can it really support us? So we cannot depend on next generation for retirement, that's for sure. It's a tagline of another company, I'm sure you've heard of it before. But really, we are the sandwich generation, right? So potentially, Mr. Client, you're going to live until 99 or even 100 years old. So you have to convince them, right? You cannot just say and pluck up from the end. Tell them the trend and tell them your belief as well. From 65 years old all the way to 99 or even 100 years old. Let me just put 100, okay? Just for good explanation. So 35 years, all right? 35 years. So Mr. Client, from 65, if you were to retire at 65, you need to, in a way, not have job, but you want to make sure you have passive income. How do you have passive income in the future? All of us now know, right? So from 65 years old, you require this certain amount. Okay? Mr. Client, don't worry. I'm going to calculate for you how much you need. Okay? How has anyone calculated for you before? Some may say yes, some may say no. Doesn't matter. I'll help you calculate. So from here, all the way to 100 years old, Mr. Client, how much do you think you need? Now, a lot of us made a mistake, especially for people who are not in the financial world. What they do is that they use the current expenses, they multiply by 35. But Mr. Client is wrong, right? We have to add in compounding inflation. And what is the inflation at this point of time? 5, 6%, right? But in the future, do you think inflation will be higher or lower? It's anybody's guess. So we just find an average. So this, you need to add in inflation. Okay? And Mr. Client, I'll calculate for you. And then you use the iResource calculator. And then you calculate how much is it. It's easy. Okay, within 1 minute you can churn out already. So from now, Mr. Client, let's say my age, 35. Okay? Because it's so too sensitive to us, you guys, right? Especially the ladies. So I'll just use my age, okay? So Mr. Client, from 35 years old, you're going to reach this goal for you to draw down all the way for 35 years so that it's sufficient. Or if you want to start planning at 45 or 55 or even 60, not drawn to scale, which age do you think is going to be the hardest to start planning for your retirement? Obviously 60, right? So you ask the client, why 60? Because very close. The client will tell you, because too close really. Because the curve is too steep. Yes. So is it doing justice to your wealth? Is it doing justice to yourself? Mr. Client, you work very hard in your company. Yes, right? You OT, you come home late, and you work and slog hard. But think about it. Take a step back. Is your money growing as hard as you? Is your money growing harder than you? Or is it just slacking off somewhere else? I can tell you, it's going to be a mind-blowing session for your client. So then when will be the easiest time to start planning for retirement? Obviously now, right, Mr. Client? Now. Well, Mr. Client, if I have a time machine today, and I'm going to bring you to the past, how old do you think is the youngest age for you to start planning so that it's the easiest? And then the client will tell you, when I first graduate and get my first full-time income job. You're right, Mr. Client. 26? Yeah, 26 years old. If 26 years old, do you think it'll be the easiest? Yes. But some will tell you harder because my income lesser. It doesn't matter, it's by proportion, relativity, right? Yeah. So if you start at the age of 26 years old, definitely much easier. But Mr. Client, I'm so sorry to tell you that I have all the solutions in the world, but I do not have a solution of the time machine. I cannot go back in time. So when else do you think is a good time? You will say now, right? Obviously, because it's an obvious answer. Okay? But you just stop there. You don't continue to talk about it now. If not, you'll seem pushy, okay? And then what you do is that from now until 65 years old, there are two things that will sustain your lifestyle. The first thing is active income. Am I right? Yes. Mr. Client, can you define to me what is active income? Friend, what is active income? What is the definition of active income? Well, right? Got work, got money lah. No work, no money, right? Yeah. Sick also no money, because sick cannot go to work. Then you can condition the client, right? To buy CI, life insurance and all those things, okay? So active income is what keeps you on, okay? You, Mr. Client, you're an asset that generates income. Do you not think that I need to protect you as well? You as an asset. Secondly, savings. You have your surpluses, you have your savings to upkeep your lifestyle, okay? From now until 65 years old. But what comes after 65 years old? Assuming you retire, do you have active income, Mr. Client? Have or not? Have? Don't have, So if you have no active income, then what do you need to have? You need to have passive income. So what is the definition of passive income? What is the, maybe, Adi Shankaran here? What is the definition of passive income?
Receive income even not working.
Exactly, right? That is the exact definition. And I'm sure your client will also tell you, right? And then they will tell you, property rental. So property rental now good or not? Good or not good? Maybe good. Is it good? Good now, huh? It's increasing lah. Property yield, what is the percent now? 3 4, okay. So 3 to 4% thereabout. But how many properties are we allowed to buy in Singapore?
Depends on when you buy. If you buy 2 years ago, it's 4%. If you buy now, no.
Prices are going up lah, right? Yeah, because the yield is a proportion of the purchase price, the value, the market value price at that point of time, right? So, but everyone can only buy one property lah. How many else? What are the other sources of income that you want to have? And by investing only in property, you're only trapping yourself in investing in one asset class. Property, real estate is one asset class. The financial instruments that we provide are another asset class altogether. So you should diversify. So secondly, during your retirement, you need to have this thing called the retirement fund. Okay, retirement fund. To upkeep your lifestyle during your retirement. Now, Mr. Client, have you heard of CPF? Definitely lah. Okay, who thinks CPF is good? Raise your hand. Okay, who thinks CPF not so good? Not good at all. Got negative views on CPF. Raise your hand. Okay. The minority lah, not so good, right? Okay. I will ask you privately later. Okay. Because this one got recording on it. So, it is true that CPF is good. So you have to explain what CPF Life is. So what is CPF Life? Can anyone explain to me? Sir?
It's from 65, you get a fixed amount every month as long as you live.
Yes.
Based on the 3 plans.
So before 65 years old, what's going to happen?
You accumulate from 55 to 65.
Yes. What's going to happen at 55?
You can withdraw the surplus.
Mm-hmm.
Depending which one you did.
Yes, so correct. So at the age of 85 years old, upon your birthday, you will have your OA combined with your SA automatically to form RA, retirement account. It's important to tell your clients, okay? We cannot, gone were the days where we bash CPF, gone were the days that we bash everything that the government provide, and then just say that ours is good. I tell you, clients are savvy. So we have to complement, and it's the truth as well, to me, I feel. CPF Life serves at minimum coverage for retirement. The rest of it is up to you, right? So, at the age of 85 years old, RA, you have to set aside full retirement sum. Do you know that you can calculate your client's full retirement sum? Yes, at the compounding factor of 3% every year. I'm sure you all know about that, okay? And then you round down to the nearest dollar. Because CPF website, they provide only to the next 2 to 3 years. They don't dare to provide so long, because what if they change the 3 or 4% accordingly? Okay? So you can calculate, that's a projection, but you must disclaimer, this is just a projection, okay? So it's important, right? Because if you're the policy maker of CPF back then, when you have to come out of CPF Life, do you need to make sure that it's affordable to everybody so that everybody can afford to retire? The answer is yes. So in order to make sure that all income range of Singaporeans and PR can retire and can fit into your FRS, definitely the sum will be low. And when the sum is low, retirement income will naturally be lower. So would that minimum sum of how much every month, 65 years old onwards? 1,002, 1,003, 1,004, depending, right? So do you think that amount is enough for you? And then you run a cash flow lah. You ask the person for the expenses, ask for the income. Oh, Mr. Client, your expenses is already 2.5k, you know. Do you think this 1.5k is going to help you? Do you think this 1.1, 1.2, 1.3k is going to help you? Yeah, I'm sure. You can use escalating plan. Escalating is you take lesser lah, and then after that next time you take more. But in the end of the day, you don't take a lot, right? So I am here to help you supplement that part. I'm here to help you to form that, to fill up that gap that you have for your retirement. Okay? So how do we make sure that in the future we have passive income and retirement fund? The current active income that we have, the current savings that you have, don't put it in the bank doing nothing. Make sure that it grows to become the future passive income and retirement fund. Now, Mr. Client, how do we make sure that in the future you have passive income and retirement fund? How? It is whatever that you have now, your active income and your savings. Save it, invest it, and have a retirement plan for yourself. You realize that these three words coincide with the left-hand side of the umbrella of life, if you have taken a photo just now. And that will directly tell the client that I am here to help you solve this gap. I'm here to help you solve this problem and to fill up the gap for you. Okay? So this, in a way, is what I will share to my clients, and it only took me, 10 minutes to share to my clients accordingly. Any questions for just now the umbrella of life and this retirement life path, or timeline, sorry. Any questions?
So this is drawn below.
Yeah, directly below. I use iPad Note. Yeah. Very efficient nowadays. You can scroll and all that. You can review and you can go back. You can undo also. Yeah. Any questions for this?
To calculate what tool you use in the iResource, is it the lifestyle calculator or what?
Retirement calculator.
It's called retirement calculator.
Yes. Yeah. When was the last time you went iResource?
I use my own Excel.
Oh, your Excel. Okay. Yeah. Your Excel then different
But I mean, if iResource has nicely, why not?
Correct. Exactly. But the calculation may differ
Okay.
depending on the methodology and also the inflation that you're calculating on. Yeah. But the good thing about iResource is that you can actually adjust the percentage. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, instant. Okay. Any question for this?
You on the spot calculate the, like example, the current expenses and the inflation amount. You on the spot calculate for the current.
Sorry, say again.
You on the spot at this juncture calculate how much you need for expenses with inflation taken into consideration at 65.
Oh yes, so I will immediately calculate. After this, I will calculate this already. Because remember I told you, calculate know the expenses now. So ask for the expenses. So through the expenses, you will be able to calculate already using time value money calculator. And using the iResource, actually you can. But iResource a bit, you have to click on the lifestyle accordingly. The lifestyle also may not be super accurate, but it's a good projection in that sense.
I don't understand at which juncture.
Yes, after this one, when you calculate the expenses. Because without the expenses, I'm unable to calculate. Yeah. And if you know the expenses, you will definitely know the income. So try not to ask income first. Try to ask expenses. Expenses is easier to say. Income a bit more sensitive. Ask expenses first. And the person have already given you the expenses, right? The person would find no reason not to give you the income accordingly. Okay? Okay. Any questions? Any other questions? Okay, then we'll continue. Okay, conclusion. So this race is a marathon, it's not a sprint, right? So we are in our last quarter, literally a final sprint already. Yes, even though they call it the final sprint, they can't be saying the final marathon, that doesn't make sense, right? But to you, this career is a marathon, okay? Be the greatest critic of yourself, which means that after every appointment, you go to reflect, tell yourself how you can do better and all that. Don't shun for it. But don't take disappointments or rejections too harshly as well. If you're long in this career, if you're long enough, clients will come back to you. Prospect will come back to you. Even clients or prospect that may rejected you for the first time, they will come back to you. Sincerity and passion in this business will win hearts and families for a lifetime. This is what I truly believe. Be self-evaluating and proactive. Don't wait for leaders to ask. They didn't ask me to add this in. I personally think and agree this. Okay? Spend time with your family, hug them when you have a chance. I think it's easy to get burnt out in this career. It's easy to have a lot of ups and downs in this career. But really ask yourself, what is the motivation of you working hard? Like, if family is the one, then definitely hug them once in a while. Maybe not once in a while, every day. Okay? So don't chase after awards and money. Instead, chase after the successes of your client's financial portfolio. And trust me, the awards and money will start chasing you. Okay, so with that, I end my presentation. Thank you very much for having me. Okay, so Q&A lah. Any other questions that you all have?
Eilton, thanks so much.
What's your name, sorry?
My name is Lyndon.
Lyndon, okay.
Thanks for sharing. One thing is that after transiting out from the force, who were your very first clients? And from there, because I see is that if you were to times 3 your first MDC, right, it will also have become either Centurion or even COT also. So how do you keep that sustainable? Like, for example, your clients, then how do you get referrals? And is the nature of your clients also from the Air Force? Because you are maybe that Air Force consultant already.
Actually, I wish. Yeah. So I did go back to some of them. I didn't go back to all of them lah. Yeah. Most of them are really have things planned already, because even before I left, somebody else left and became a consultant lah. Yeah. So obviously they would have their portfolio taken care of. I did go for some those that I'm closer with and all those lah. And your question is, how do I sustain that lah, right?
Yeah. Or who are your main clientele from the start even up to now supporting your business?
Okay. So surprisingly, regulars are not a main bulk of my clients. And just now, remember I told you, first 2 years, I just do warm calling. Warm calling. Literally, I look at my phone book, I look at who I'm closer with. Obviously, I'll call the closer ones lah, right? And I will also call acquaintances. I literally call them. Yeah. And some of you may be wondering, how do I convince them to meet up, right? I'm like another MLM seller, right? Another insurance agent, right? Maybe the 101 agent that has already called them, right? Yeah. So my value proposition would be to tell them that I'm not here to get rid of your plans. I'm here to look at your plans now, do an assessment of it, do an audit of it, and if I think that you have further gaps, I would value add that. I will professionally advise you. If I don't find any gaps, you're good. You don't have to do a single thing. That's what I will tell them. And you'll be surprised, out of the 10 calls, 7 would meet me up. Out of the 7, maybe 5 I will close. So I think that's okay. That sustained me for the first 2 years. Beyond 2 years, maybe that is also your question. Mostly is by referral. By my first year client, my second year client, I will ask them for referral lah. I'll ask them in a way that is not very pushy. I'll just ask them to give me one lah. I know some very ambitious one, give 5, give 6. I know some work lah, but some don't work lah. Some may even be turned off lah. Then you realize that after that you don't really hear much from the client, and then you wonder why. Yeah. So I'll just ask one. Imagine me, right? If you are able to secure, let's say, 150 clients in your first year. Let's say 100 clients in your first year. And second year, if you revisit them and then you just ask them to give you one referral to you, each client. Some may give you 2, some may give you none, some may even give you 1 only, right? And you realize that you can actually sustain based on that. It is not entirely impossible, because the clients that eventually, or the referrals that eventually you met and you close, they become your client. You regenerate that part. And that will be your second and third year. And then you go back to them to ask for referral. Usually during closing, I don't ask for referral. That's for me, I don't at all. But I would, however, ask how I can help them with their family. Their parents, their mummies and their daddies and all that. And I will usually start off with a very cheap personal accident plan for father and mothers. Because usually by then their health got some issues and all that. No issues, I'll cover them with hospital plan. Yeah, which I've done so a few times already. I think a lot of times they are a bit weary of us in a way. And it's understandable in that sense. But if you were to tell them that if your parents don't really have an insurance company or insurance planner, then you become the insurance planner as the client. You and your siblings become insurance company. Do you want to be the insurance company? Do you want to bear this risk? Maybe not lah. Let me bear the risk for you. Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Thank you. Eilton, right?
Yes.
Thanks. Any questions? Any other questions? Charisma, hi. You look familiar. Okay. Yes, I still do. Yes. Age range. Most of them are around my age. Most of them are around my age, and some in their 40s, some even in their 50s. So it really, really depends. Friends wise, usually it's referrals that has a older age, usually, because they will refer their uncle, aunties, and all that. And if you're long enough, naturally referrals will come. That's what I feel. That's what I felt. I think a lot of veterans here would have felt that also. Yeah.
So for your age, right, what kind of plans do you usually sell? Because most of them already have the basic protection plans, right? Yeah.
The umbrella of life.
Okay. Then what is the average case size?
Average case size, I have not been tracking. Nowadays, can the iSmart tell you that answer?
Or like as a APA, right? Like roughly how on average what's the
Pro Achiever lah. Okay. Pro Achiever, it ranges from 1K per month to average 1.5K a month. Yeah. I totally trust investment and Pro Achiever. I completely do that. Yeah. 1K per month to 1.5. That also depends on the person's pay lah. If the person pay is 3K, 4K, you cannot do that lah. Obviously, you cannot lah. You cannot do that. Yeah. So you have to calculate the cash flow. So that's where the expenses and cash flow come in. Yeah.
We have consultants like your age, but don't sell so big cases. They're scared of selling big cases. Maybe you can give some tips how you can stretch the client's wallet to be 1,000, 1,005. Other than the umbrella, because you did the needs analysis, but most people who have done it, they will have used.
Yes, they would have done it. It's not uncommon. Yes.
Extra from you to be able to push big cases.
Okay, push big cases.
proposal?
So after, I'm sure you all calculate cash flow, right? You all calculate the expenses and you know the income, right?
Case still small. I see some.
You all calculate income lah, right? You all calculate income lah.
Yeah.
So after you calculate the income, right? Do you ask for bonuses?
Yes.
Yes, all bonuses all lump in already lah. Okay, then you would have the surpluses, right? You would have how much is remaining to invest, right? Yeah. So those clients that I have, usually they are referrals that have a certain higher income. Obviously, I have clients that only buy $200, only $400. I feel that a lot of times, right, the limitations is yourself. Yeah, I always feel that, especially when the first 2 years when I'm in this industry. I think $400 is enough for you. Hence, I just tell you $400 will do a month. And then when the client asks you, right, what is the minimum? Or Pro Achiever? 200, right? I think a lot of us will say $200. I don't say minimum. I would ask them it's never about the minimum. It's about the financial objective that you want to achieve. The financial goal, the investment goal that you want to achieve. And they won't ask you again. Because $200 is inimacam for you. If you can spend on food $500 on your expenses, why can't you spend $500 similarly or even higher to grow that money? Because if you spend in expenses, it's written off, right? Yeah, you enjoy the experience, but it's written off. You want to have more occurrences of enjoying yourself, then you have no choice but to grow your money. Every one of us, we have our own retirement age. It's whether we like it or not, the money must grow and it must start fast. Yeah.
Then may I know what is your biggest case size?
For Pro Achiever?
For any case in AIA.
Okay, just for your information, just in case you think, a lot of people think that I have ULs and all that. I don't. Zero UL. All bread and butter cases. I tell you that so that you can relate with me. Because I'm not any hotshot banker or any hotshot FSC that sell UL. I don't. And I don't sell CS. Yeah, that's something that I'm also looking in as well. And my biggest one, I think a lot of it is combination. When you do the umbrella of life analysis, when the person know about the gaps, and if you are able to calculate the cash flow accordingly, the person will be convinced. That means you plan on behalf of the client. When the client already tell you the surplus, or rather when the client already tell you the expenses and income, you would have already known the surpluses. And by then, in your heart and in your mind and your professionalism, you will know how to plan on. You will know it comes naturally with experience, obviously, right? Yeah. And if you know that the client is gearing towards the investment part, then you should gear a bit of the proportion towards that. Especially when the person is of a certain age, cannot really buy a lot of CI already, got a lot of CI already and all that, and you don't know how to tackle. Pro Achiever can be one of it. Yeah, I'm a firm believer of Pro Achiever. Really. Yeah. My biggest, right, your question, right? My biggest Pro Achiever this year, I mean, which happens to be this year, a couple of months back, 3K per month. 3K per month. Pro Achiever 2.0. Wasted lah. Don't have the additional bonus. Because that was before the promo. Wow, if not, what? Yeah.
What's the profile for
This
this 3K?
3K retired principal become part-time teacher. Got income one. No need the money one. Calculate already the expenses, the cash flow.
So she's in her 50s.
60. Yeah. And you'll be wondering, right? 60, still sell RP, right? Regular premium, right? How do I do that lah? Go ahead.
Yeah, my question is, let's say you sell Pro Achiever, right? Then they will definitely, like what you said, nowadays people are just all very savvy, right? So if they do their own investments, how do you counter that? Telling you that their own investments beats the benchmark, or for example, Pro Achiever, Avengers.
How would you reply?
I mean, at the end of the day, we always talk about diversification, so I'll go down that road.
Oh, that means 一点放我这边，一点放那边 that kind lah. Okay. I think the older generation, they don't really trust all these robo advisors, so they will still trust us. Yeah, human advisory. We still have a job on
Younger generation.
Younger generation, right? So younger generation at this point of time it's good for them to check the app because now it's all in the rates. Yeah, and I can tell you the app's also very smart one. It will tell you, because the market changes, because of the tension, because of the current market condition, and that's why your rate. So you must hold it. The app already preempt them I can tell you nothing beats an assuring voice from their consultant. If they're only hearing from the app, they think it's nothing one. They will probably skip and ignore that, and then withdraw everything. They don't mind making a loss. And this, I feel, is gonna be the trend. Yeah, even for youngsters, for people who don't know, or for people who invest emotionally. Because what will you do when you invest emotionally? You will buy high and sell low. Why would you buy high and sell low? When the fund prices go down, would you enter? If you invest emotionally, you would not, right? So now that you see your fund prices going down, yes, current value in your portfolio goes down as well. Emotional investors, what will you do? You will feel fearful. Fearful, what will you do? You will take out. So 10%, only 10% as investors, 10% of the investors are investing logically. And it's difficult to invest logically. So I will tell them, use a platform to help you invest systematically and logically, not emotionally. Now you're feeling this way emotionally when you see the rate you want to withdraw, it is because of the emotional part. Yeah. And also tell them don't withdraw, hold it. Yeah. Okay. So that's how I would do it. As time goes by, you must also assure them that all these funds and all that, it will recover because tension is not a permanent problem. The war that is ongoing is not a permanent problem. But what is a permanent problem? A permanent problem is a retirement, it's an inevitable problem. Inflation is a permanent problem. So we have to look at the macro view of it. Yeah. Any questions?
Can you go back to the previous question? The 60 years old but R280.
Oh, 60 years old. Oh, okay. Sorry, I was about to go there, right? Yeah. Okay, so I look at the person's portfolio. CPF Life, You know, as a teacher, can one lah. Every month very comfortable one. Then I calculate the expenses. Actually, expenses not very high. They really got house really paid off. Don't really have much of a liability and expenses. But what I'm worried about is not within the first 10 years. It's what comes after 10 years. That is what I'm worried about. Now, you're taken care of, I don't have to do a single thing. But what comes after 10 years? Are you sure that your money is going to last you then? Now, the surpluses that you have, you put with me, I'll grow for you. 10 years later, I'll pass it back to you. Yeah, and she was sold lah, in other words lah. Yeah, I sell logically lah. I don't push them. I tell them logical, and I tell them that this is the planning for you. Yeah. Any
The last question.
yes,
Do you have a favorite combination of the plans?
favorite combination of plans if I sell high sum assured, I will use term lah. If I sell normal CI, I will use GPP because limited premium term. I seldom touch on PLP. I like to go pro achiever a lot more. In fact, nowadays I only sell pro achiever. I don't really sell savings plan, endowment plan, and all that. But of course, if the person is risk averse, then cannot lah. Cannot means cannot lah. Don't push to cautious lah. Cannot means cannot. Then I will sell savings. But during the review, I would have said, oh, last year if you had invested with me, right, you would have gotten this amount of money. Why not you try today? Yeah.
So it's term and APA or GPP?
GPP with yeah, always APA one. I will always bring in an APA for sure. Because I tell you, right, if you don't fill the gap, somebody else will fill in the gap. And I can tell you who the banks will fill in for them. And the banks at the end of the day fill in with whose product? Our product. Wow.
So if like they have existing APA, like 200, 300, then you review again within like 5 years later or 3, 4 years, would you sell other APA?
That means existing plan 5 years ago.
Yeah,
And-
like example, you already bought a minimum APA like a couple of years back, then now you his salary increase, but APA is the better plan, right? So would you like get him to buy another APA?
Yes. Why not?
Because maybe like PRE, right, is more towards like retirement planning in the long run.
Ah.
The APA does like generally like bring your wealth.
Oh.
Some people they think that I already have, for what I get one more of the same plan.
Oh, okay. Oh, why same plan? Okay. For PRE, I usually go for SRS lah. SRS I go for PRE. It's obvious one. Because I want them to have a bit more liquidity for the pro achiever, at least for the 10 years than PRE. PRE is all the way on until 60, 65 years old. So it makes sense for SRS. SRS, I'll go PRE. Even personally, I'll go for PRE for SRS, for my own SRS. Yeah, cash for the short term one, like 10 years, that kind. Yeah, so that's all I'll do. Because if you lock their money long, then your own turnover, they don't see the money, they don't feel it. They only feel it at the age of 65 years old. It's too long already, if you ask me. But there's no hard and fast rule. There's no right or wrong. I think it's about your own professional analysis and assessment of your client. But this is the general basis how I would tackle this. Yeah, thank you.
Don't mind. I was